Last class we have seen that there exist many variables in the market, and these variables in the market will produce that we have disintermediation or intermediation. And we have called disintermediation as direct market participation. It means that people could lend their money directly to those who are deficit yielding. Positive variables doesn't mean that it's something positive for the economy, or negative variables doesn't mean that they are negative variables for the market. It only means that positive variables will help to have disintermediated market, or negative variables means that we will have intermediated market. You can complement this concept with some others that we have seen in the first chapter of this course. In this first chapter we have seen if we have lower cost and lower difficulties, then we will have intermediation or disintermediation. And this is the summarize of this picture. Now, taking again the concept of global banks benchmark. In this case, we can see that here is a balance sheet, and in the balance sheet we have assets. What are assets? Assets are, we know, cash, receivable accounts, or loans, or fixed assets, and so on. In the case of building fixed assets, is something that the bank has built or has bought. And in the case of loans, banks have originated loans because they lend money to someone. If they lend this money, they have a note. A note is a pagaré. And this note represents the capacity to charge money, to collect money, to bill money to someone. Loans could be considered as tradable commodities. And they are tradable commodities because all loans from all financial institutions are nearly the same, have the same characteristics, only have changed the paper or the logo in the paper, but the conditions, the interest rates, the amount are the same. And in many countries, this document, this note, is tradable. So someone can buy it and financial institutions can sell it. I have told you at the beginning of the class when we have read the news, we have read that Caja Arequipa wants to buy another microfinance institution. And they want to do so because they have enough money. And in the case of Caja Trujillo, they want to increase the stockholders' participation in 30%. They want the private investors participate in their equity. It's because they have reached the limit, or they will reach the limit in a not so long period. And by this, the only way that they could have, if they don't can increase their capital, or if they can maintain their operations in a level, the only way that they can apply is to sell their loans. So, for example, I only have I only can lend a small quantity of loans to my market. If I lend more, I will not accomplish with the rules. If I not accomplish with the rules, I will have a punishment. The only way that I can use is I sell my loans to someone else. For example, to a security institution. And by this, when I sell my loans to a security institutions, I am under the weight of the securitization. With the securitization, they don't have their account, the loan in their balance sheet. And with this, they can accomplish with the rules. But right now, someone else is the owner of these loans. And they can sell it, they can manage it. Perhaps I have the risk that they can fire out my clients. They could be the new owners of my clients. I have worked with my client, I have obtained it, I have convinced it to work with me, and after all, I sell this note to someone else. When I do so, the consequence is that this new financial institution is the new owner of this client. All my work is loose. What can I do if I don't want to lose this client? I have some alternatives. If I sell or I transfer this loan to a security institution, this security institution is not my competitor. It's a complement of my activities. And they complement activities of all the financial institutions. What they do? What will they do? They issue bonds. And these bonds emitting. They issue bonds. And when they issue a bond, this bond is backed, respaldado, by these loans that I have issued. So they buy my loans, they maintain their loans in their treasury, in their desk, and they issue bonds. And when they collect the interest of the notes, then they will pay the interest of the bonds with the same funds. So all the cash flow that my notes will produce are the sources by which they will pay their bonds. In this case, the people will not know that the loans or notes exist. They only know that exist bonds, and they will trade with bonds. The market won't know who is my client. Only the security institutions will know, and they will compete with me. So with this, the consequence will be that I accomplish with the rules. First thing, I accomplish with the rules. Second thing, the market increase operations because a bond is issued, and with this funds, I will receive this funds as I am the issuer of the notes. I will receive this funds, and I can lend this money to other clients again. Okay? Have you understand this? For example, I have, this is my limit, this upper side of the blackboard. Okay? This upper side is my limit. And I am here. I don't reach the limit, the upper limit. But I am near of the limit. As I am near of the limit, if I lend money to someone, I will pass the limit. I will be punished. I try to avoid this punishment. So what must I do? I sell or I transfer my loan. So I am here, and I will be here because I lend or I transfer my loans to someone else. So I reduce my participation over the loan market. With these loans that I have transferred to the securitization institution, they will issue a bond. And with this bond, and they will pay the bond with the cash flow that will produce this note. We know that the clients of this note, the borrowers of this loan, will pay interest, will pay capital. When they pay it, this funds will be a source to payment for this bond. On the other hand, when they issue the bond, they receive cash. But this cash belongs to me, not for them, because I have given them the note, so they must give me the cash. I have again cash, and with this cash I can lend again to someone else alone. So it's a way to reactivate my operation. This is the way by which this activity, by which this service will be in the market to help us to do more operations. So by this, banks originate loans. Banks consider these loans as a tradable commodity. Every institution considers it as so because they are an instrument that you can differentiate. Every note is the same. If we see this thing under this optic, banks are brokers of loans. They are not only lenders. Now they are brokers. Why brokers? Because they receive money from their depositors. With this money, with this cash, they will lend this money. And after they will lend or they will sell or transfer this loan to someone else. Then they are brokers, not only lenders. A new point of view. As we have seen this course, at the beginning of this course, we have seen that financial institutions are basically intermediaries. I have told you that they are not only intermediaries, they are risk transfer institutions too. And right now we are seeing that they are brokers. Another function, in another situation, as financial markets and financial institutions are growing, are evolving, they are changing their function in the market. And in the future, perhaps there will be something different that we are, something different as we know them right now. Okay? And by this we can say they are financial brokers. When they originate a loan, the loan is here, they can take a decision. Which are the two kinds of decisions that they can take? The first one, they will retain this loan in their balance sheet until their maturity. Then the loan is considered an asset. But if they transfer this loan to a securitization company, then this loan is not in their balance sheet, it's in the balance sheet of the security institution, and this is a securitization operation. In this case, we are speaking about an off-balance sheet. Because in this case, the financial institution has transferred this loan to someone else, has the obligation to generate these funds. With the loans that they have transferred, they will generate this cash. That if these loans don't generate the cash, they must provide this cash by other ways, with other sources. Then, securitization is an underlying basis of financial intermediaries is shifted. What is underlying? In Spanish, subyacente. Okay? A loan, a note, is something that is under the most important operation. And in this case, the most important operation is the bond issue. Ustedes han emitido bonos, esos bonos están respaldados con los pagarés generan los fondos para pagar los bonos, entonces el público ve los bonos, no ve el pagaré, porque el pagaré está enterrado, está subyacente. ¿Ok? Ese es el nombre que se utiliza en English, underline, en castellano, subyacente. ¿Ok? So securitization is a financial operation in which you will find underlying assets. And in the case of securitization, you will find the cost of direct participation in financial markets. Why the cost of direct participation? Because I am not using intermediaries. Perhaps we can say that we have intermediaries. The financial institution has had a note and they have transferred it. The security institution has received this note and they have used it as underlying asset and they have issued a bond. Yes? How the loan becomes in a securitization operation. Okay. First, the financial institution offer a loan to their public, to their customers. The customer receive funds and sign a note, pagaré. Then the financial institution has a note. Second, by different reasons, I have told you that that the financial institution needs to sell this note. This sale is to a security institution. And this security institution received it, and in counterpart, they must do two things. First one, they emiten a bond to the market. and people will buy it. When they buy it, they will channelize funds to the security institution. But this cash is not for them. It's for the financial institution who has give to them a note. So if I give you a note, what will I receive? I will receive cash. Then the security institution will transfer this cash to the financial institution. And the financial institution has again cash, and they can lend this cash to someone else. On the other side, those loans are underlying the bonds, son el subyacente del bond. Okay? So they are underlying the bond. And in this case, we have the securitization operation. En castellano esto se llama operación de titulización. Y se llama titulización porque son títulos. En inglés, securities son títulos, son acciones. O son valores más que acciones. Las acciones son también títulos. Lo que se hace es que, respaldándose en una operación clásica como es la emisión de un bono, se va a emitir ahora, un pagaré, se va a emitir ahora un bono, y ese bono se va a pagar con los recursos que genera el pagaré. Yo se lo cedo, soy la institución financiera, yo se lo cedo a la empresa titulizadora o security institution. Y ellos, contra eso, han recibido algo de mí, me tienen que dar al cambio, todavía no me lo dan porque están recibiendo, tienen que hacer otra operación. Ellos emiten bono, reciben fondos, porque la gente ve que estás emitiendo, ya me interesa, lo compran. Y una vez que lo compran, canalizan los fondos a la titulizadora. Y la titulizadora dice, esto no es mío, es lo que yo le tengo que dar al que me dio los pagarés, y se lo remite al que dio los pagarés. Entonces el que le dio los pagarés redujo su activo, cuando redujo los pagarés que se los pasó al otro, y ahora los vuelve a aumentar con cash, con caja. Esa es la operación de securitization. Cuando yo reemplazo en el mercado unos documentos con otros, y está hecho de tal forma que he reducido el riesgo de la operación, y con eso estoy reduciendo el costo del financiamiento también, y estoy además ofreciendo al mercado opciones para invertir su dinero, porque si no existieran los bonos, solamente existieran los pagarés, no podrían invertir los saldos que compraran directamente el pagaré. ¿Cómo? ¿Que esos? ¿Sería posible decir que esos activos no corrientes, que eran préstamos, estarían pasando a ser activos corrientes? Vamos a ver de esta forma. O sea, securitization se puede hacer con cualquier activo. No tiene que ser necesariamente un activo corriente. Ahora, el pagaré es un activo normalmente corriente porque normalmente es a menos de un año. Son pocos los pagarés que son a más de un año. Entonces lo que yo he hecho es cambiar un activo corriente por otro activo corriente, normalmente cuando hago securitization. Y cuando vence el pagaré, el bono generalmente es de más plazo. Entonces lo que yo hago es que, me dice la titulizadora, ya cobré los bonos, ya toma más, y le vuelvo a dar pagarés en reemplazo de los que ya vencieron. Ahora, si el pagaré es de largo plazo, ahí se ocurre lo que tú dices. Estoy cambiando activo no corriente, que sería el pagaré, por activo corriente que sería caja. Y una vez que tengo la caja, puede ser que la caja la invierta nuevamente en activo corriente o en activo no corriente, o por los plazos si vuelvo a pensar. Eso es básicamente. ¿Lo han entendido? Bien. And these kind of operations are new, so many people don't understand them and don't know how to work with them. And then we have a cost of learning. The first time I will do these operations at a higher cost with more, I will use more time to arrange it, to arrange it, and I will need more time, more effort to agree conditions with all the participants than in the future. Because in the future I will have more experience, I will do these operations quicker, and then costs will be lower. But at the beginning, the most part of these operations are more costly. And it needs marketing monitoring, because we will have representatives, we will have entities that will check if all the conditions of this operations are being accomplished during the life or until the maturity of this bond. On the other side, as financial institutions are operated as brokers or financial brokers, they are working in trading, and trading has a cost. When we are speaking about cost, it means that we must consider two variables. The first one, we are running an optimal risk. We are trying to do operations in an optimal condition. These securitizations operations are trying to reduce risk in order to obtain lower costs. I have told you that for example, in my first example, I have told you that financial institutions are trying to do securitization because they have a limit problem and they solve it selling their notes. On the other hand, I could be a financial institution and I know that I could obtain at a lower cost financing. And I prefer to obtain it by securitization and not by deposits because perhaps the deposit funds are more expensive. Then I prefer to do this with securitization. It's a second reason why I will use securitization. And when I am trying to prepare to arrange an optimal risk, it means that at the same time I am trying to do an appropriate asset mix. And an asset mix means that I need a kind of structure of assets, long-term, short-term, different kinds of assets that I will use in order to obtain an adequate structure that will produce an optimal risk. So it's something, it's an association of ideas that I need to maintain at every time, or the consequence could be that I will assume higher cost or higher and higher risk. The consequence of higher risk is that I will lose money. And in this case, we can see some ideas that we have seen two slides before this one. In number 5, we have said that the nature of financial intermediaries has changed. What means that the nature of financial intermediaries has changed? First, provision of risk management services. When I am offering to the market new services, and these new services are not only lend money, it's trading financial assets or some other things, then I need to have some kind of provision. As these operations are operations of lower risk, the consequence is that I don't need to have enough, so much provisions as before. Then I have a better financial statement because my provisions are lower. At the same time, I have a trading and management assets. And with this trading and management assets, it means that I must look for buyers or sellers. I must try to maintain, to hold financial assets in my balance sheet. And if I do so, I am operating in a new market. I am not only lending, I am trading. I am a trader. And this trading and management assets is related with provision and risk management services. So, as I am operating in this new market that represent, as we will see in chapter 7, that represent in the United States nearly the 27% of their income, and in our country nearly the 80%. Now, right now the 50%, it has reduced its participation. 5 years ago, for us, this kind of income represented 23% of our financial income. But right now it represents only 50. It has reduced its participation here in Peru because in our case, management assets or trading assets is not so important as in other countries. And as the nature of financial intermediaries has changed, as they are traders and not lenders, and their provisions and their activities has changed, we can say that financial institutions are not financial risk business. They are financial risk business. They are trading risk. They are operating with risk. This is the most important thing that they are doing. They are not banks. If we understand that banks, an institution that only lend money. Okay? And I will add a new concept, something that it is not in books. For me, financial institutions are not only financial risk business. For me, are financial information business because they process information, financial information specifically. And with this financial information, they will take decisions. They will lend money, they won't lend money, they will look for deposits, and so on. And they will have enough information about their clients in order to take different kind of decisions. Then under the current point of view, financial institutions are financial risk businesses. And these entities will minimize customer risk. And they minimize the customer's risk because as they are trading with risk, controlling the risk, they could offer to their depositors more guarantee that they will recover the funds at the end of their periods. Or on the other hand, if they are lending money to someone and they are lending or investing their money in securities or in loans, they will recover these funds as they are lending money with caution, con precaución, with caution. Okay? And it means at the end of this history that they have reduced costs. They are running lower costs because if they recover funds, if they have a lower level of default, it means that they have lower cost. Because default means that I won't recover money, and if I don't recover money, I am running the risk of lose the capital and the interest of the loan. If I can't control this, then I am in a lower cost position. It's better for me, it's better for everyone. And now we will change our topic. We are going to domestic market adjustment. In the case of domestic market adjustment, what I am trying to show you is that financial institutions are operating in many countries. And the most part of the countries know that they depend on financial institutions and they depend on insurance companies, but more in financial institutions and insurance companies. But both are very important. They are the column of every economy. They are not the most important. Other economical sectors are most important than them. They produce more value for the world, but it's not the case of financial institutions and insurance companies. But if they don't exist, we can't have the volume of operations that we have right now. We can't process the risk as they are processing risk and helping other institutions to work, to operate. So they are necessary. If they are not here, all our economy will fall. It's so clear, it's so evident. By this, as these markets are changing, as financial markets are evolving, are going to be more globalized, we need to have new conditions in our market if we want to maintain our operations. If countries try to obtain the benefits of this globalization and they try to do more efficient the functions of insurance and financial institutions, they need to adjust their domestic markets. And what must they do? First, we need to accomplish with two principles. The first one, maximize the benefits of financial globalization. So we need to list all the benefits that we could obtain from globalization. And when we do so, we must determine which are the benefits that we could obtain and which are the most important for our economy. And at the same time, when we try to obtain the benefits of globalization, it means that we have opened our market. And when we open our market, we are subject that new investors, that new participants will come into our markets. And in some cases, these participants are very, very strong, more strong than our own country. In the case of Latin American countries, African countries, you will find that we are seeing clients or investors that are bigger. For example, exists an investor who is called, his name Soros. He came here and invested in Peru in the year 1996 or 1998. He is what people said a guru, okay? And everyone is following what he is doing. Because he do good analysis, he select well in which countries must he invest or in which economic sectors. And when he do so, you will find something that you don't need to analyze much, because you know that everyone will follow you. If you do something, you buy cheap, something in a very cheap price, in few seconds it will increase its value, because as I have to buy it, everyone will buy it too. And they increase the price of the stock or of the bonds that I have bought. So if I know that the market has this reaction, I will take advantage over it. And what will I do? First, I will buy. And after I have bought, I will sell. People, I have buy it, and people will buy it after me. And after they have bought, the price is high, I will sell it. And after I have sell it, I will say, I have sell, I have buy that, some other thing in some other country, and everyone will sell and go following me to other countries. So, he didn't need to be a good investor. Right now, he only needs to be a very smart man, because he knows that the market will follow him and will produce artificially increase of prices. And this Mr. Soros has invested here and has produced many years ago, at the beginning of the century, in the year 201, that we have reached the price of 3.61 soles per dollar, because he has come into our country. And after he left us, our money exchange has fallen until 3 soles per dollar, and after it has reached many years ago the price of 2.40 soles per dollar. And these changes in the money exchange is something that is not good for our countries, because they affect in a negative way our balance payment. And not only our balance payment, our importers, our exporters agents will be negatively affected too. If the dollar increases its price, then our exporters can't sell their products because it's too expensive for foreign customers. And when the dollar falls a lot, then the exporters will be happy that importers will buy things very, very cheap. And perhaps for them it's a good alternative for them. What happens? If the dollar falls, the importers will have a negative or a positive consequence. Negative. Why?
They will keep earning the same amount of dollars, but the soles will be less.
Okay, good. Point for Mr. Sands. Okay, then the best, this means that we have a disadvantage, because we try to maximize the benefits, but if we try to maximize the benefits, we are running the risk of disruption, disruption to national macroeconomic policy. So as Mr. Soros or some other else come to our economy, they affect it in a negative way, and we could have problems to the development of our operations. We must accept this. Chile and Brazil don't accept it, because at the same time as Soros has come into our country, he has invested in Brazil and Chile. And in Brazil, they have taken a rule. They have said, if you invest in my country, you can take away your money after 2 years. Then speculative investment, it's not something that you can do there. And Chile has taken a similar rule, that they have established a period of 180 days. If you invest in my country, you must maintain your investment in my country 180. But if you do so, you are affecting the free flow of funds. By this, if you are trying to obtain all the advantages of this operation, you must maximize the benefits, you must reduce the risk, and you must accept not to restrict free flow of funds. But at the same time, you must ensure that these markets and flows are sound and sustainable. It means that if people will operate with us, will invest in our country, what we need is that they will invest here, and when they go out, we must be sure that something else must or can and replace him. Like banks. Banks obtain deposits for 30 days, they lend it for 1 year, and in the day 31, some other depositor will come and deposit funds and will replace the previous one. So it's the same logic in the case of countries. We need that entities will have the freedom to invest here in our country, and we must run the risk that in some cases will appear someone with big funds that could disestabilize our economy. But if we do this operation as well, we will be sure that everyone who comes here will be replaced by someone else in the future. So we need that this flow must be sustainable. And sound is something that in Spanish is not so usual to use. Perhaps in Spanish have you heard something like me suena bien? Está bien, es perfecto, ¿no? Me suena bien. Okay, they use in English they use an expression that is something like me suena bien, me parece que está bien, and sound. So we must mean that funds must have a flow that will be help for our economy and don't go to stop it. This is what we are trying to obtain. Domestic market adjustment. Financial system needs to be prudently managed and supervised, both national and international. I have told you that it is necessary to have caution, but on the other hand, it is necessary to be prudent. If they don't be prudent, the consequence could be that they are running risk, higher risk, and they can't maintain the management of this risk, and they could fall in bankruptcy. So it's necessary a prudent management. And it's necessary that someone supervise this operation. But the problem is that I can supervise these operations in my country, but what can I do if my banks have branches or have subsidiaries operating in other countries? In other countries, I don't have capacity to monitor them. My law is not applicable in other countries. In other countries, they have their own law. Then it's necessary to control them national and internationally. And we will see in the chapter 10 how we can solve this problem, because as I have told you, I only can apply my rules here in my country. I can't apply my rules in other ones. can interfere in other countries. Then, it's necessary that domestic markets will develop strategic alliances in regional markets. In some way, if I do some kind of alliances with other countries, I can complement my rules with them, or we can coordinate our rules in order that we will apply similar rules. But in other cases, it is necessary when we are speaking about some markets like the NAFTA or the Mercosur or the European Union and so on. If we are speaking about this kind of strategy, we need that we not only have freedom of product delivery, we need that financial flows, banks' activities could be flowed in the same way within all these entities that are members of this strategic alliances or in regional markets. If we don't do so, the consequence could be that it's not enough what we have agreed with other countries in this strategic alliance. And when we can do so, when we can broaden our alliances and prepare or create regional markets, we have broadened the horizon for many investors. Why can we increase the horizon for these investors? Suppose only in the case of Peruvian investors, if you can invest only in Peru, you have only, for example, I will invent 10 investment alternatives. But if you can invest in Colombia, in Bolivia, in Ecuador, Chile, perhaps you will have 300 opportunities. Then, as you are operating in more countries, you will have more investment opportunities. And if you are looking for a very good project, then perhaps this project is a project that needs economic economic of scales. Okay, if we need economic of scales, we need that our market is a big market, but Peruvian market is very small. Then we need that this market is complemented with other Andean countries or perhaps South American countries, that our products could flow from our country to other countries. Then it's a complement. If we can invest or if we can sell our products or lend our money in other countries too. But if I want to buy or to prepare a project that implies a big factory, it means that I need a lot of money, but I don't have enough. We in Peru don't have enough money. Big investors are only few. If we are not a big investor, we need the money of other investors. And if we add more Peruvian investors, it wouldn't be an interesting amount. If we can attract other investors from other countries that are members of these strategic alliances, the consequence could be that we can obtain funds from these other investors or lenders. This is the advantage of market adjustments to a global operation. Yes. Yes, for all institutions. You can lend money not only Peru, you can lend money in other countries. And if you are following your customer to other countries, your customer is here, your client is here. But if your client expand their operations to other countries, and you can go to these other countries, it's a good alternative for you. And it will be better if these other countries are members of a common market, because you don't have restrictions to operate in these other countries. But if you want to go to other country and they will ask you, okay, present me a lot of requisites that you must accomplish before you can operate here, then you need 1 year to in procedures before you can operate in this other country. Okay? Or on this other way, if you want to obtain funds from other countries because you know that in other countries the dollar is cheaper or some other currency, foreign currency is cheaper, and you are lending in your country this foreign currency, then if you are a member of a regional market, you can obtain this funds in an easy way and a cheaper way too. But this is important that this agreements, these trade agreements, these regional agreements, these global markets, regional markets are complemented with finance agreements too, in order that financial institutions could operate from one country to another easily. And this is something that is a very important role. Small, open, developing countries with fragile banking systems have little to lose from globalization and much to gain. An example could be very illustrative in this case. Only think in Peru before you born in the year 1990. Have you born there? No, you have not. Perhaps 1 or 2, but no more. Okay. If we are in this situation in those years, Peru was a closed market. And in the year 1992, Peru has bet to open its market. And it was a tragedy, a Greek tragedy. A lot of enterprises of every economic sector has fallen in bankruptcy. A lot of entities. A lot of people have lost their work because these entities have disappeared, or in some other cases, those that maintain their operations don't need so much people and they have fired their workers. What has happened there? This system, this countries have banks, and these banks were not efficient. They have worked in a protected economy, and their costs were very high, their procedures were very slow, and if your costs are high and your procedures are slow, the companies that are your clients are assuming this cost, the cost of higher cost and the cost of waiting after you have confused your procedures. Okay? And this is a fragile system. If you open your doors, your market doors, the consequence is that foreign competitors will come into your country or their products, and they will be more efficient, and you will disappear, or if you can adapt your operation. The most part of our entities, not only financial institutions, but small financial institutions, has disappeared by this way. I have told you last class that we have had mutuales, we don't have one right now. We have had big cooperativas or unions, and right now we have that those that have existed in those years don't exist right now. Only few of them are operating right now. The unions that you can see in nowadays are new, nearly new. They have not more than 20 years, so on. Okay? But after we have lost these entities, after we have had this shock, entities became more efficient entities. It has passed a time, 4 years, 6 years, it has depended on the economic sector. But right now, our banking sector is very, very strong. One of the strongest economic financial sectors in the world. Nearly few countries have the same kind of solid of solvency that our financial institutions have. Then, if your country has a fragile financial system, and you said, no, don't open our market, because if we open it, we will lose all our financial institutions, and it will be a tragedy. No, it's not a tragedy. It's better for all the economy, because if they can't compete, it's better that they will disappear. If they can't compete, it means that the inefficiency will be transferred to other entities. And when these other entities will receive this inefficiency, they can compete with other institutions, with other producers in other countries. By this, it is important. It's better to lose our entities if they are fragile, if they are not efficient, because you can read here, little to lose and much to gain. When I was younger, when I have nearly your age, I have heard many times that it is better to close your market and to protect your economic sector, because if you do so, they will, under this protection, they will evolve, they will grow, they will be more efficient, and when they reach an efficient statement, then you can open your market. Yeah? When I hear it, it was logical. I was convinced that it was an alternative. And I think that it could be, if people are reasoning. And reasoning means that I must invest, I must be efficient during a period. And I must understand that after this period, if I have reached that statement necessary to be complete, I will disappear. And the government must understand that if they don't have reached this statement, they don't have the obligation to maintain their help to them, because I can't maintain a help forever, or I will maintain only inefficient entities. Because our human essence work in this way. If I have the help of someone, I will be inefficient, because I will be customized to this help. Okay? We are humans. We are not computers. If we were computers, perhaps we could reach the efficiency in a period, and after this, the government should let us compete with others opening the market. But if we want to be global, if we try to adjust our markets to globalization conditions, it is necessary to do some other kind of changes. We need to reduce banking transactional costs. With inefficient financial institutions, we can't reduce it. And it is necessary to open our markets in order that competition will produce that this financial institution will be more efficient and reduce their costs. If they don't reduce their costs, they will transfer this inefficiency to other entities, as I have told. We must complement this cost reducing with fiscal policy. And this fiscal policy means that the government must invest in infrastructure, education, and prevent local capital from being moved to other countries. What is the relation between these ideas with financial institutions? We can see this. Infrastructure. If the government invests in infrastructure, it means first that entities that produce goods or services, that transport goods, will have lower costs because roads are better, ports are more efficient, we could have better airports, and so on. If we have lower energy costs, it means that we could obtain better conditions. And if we have better conditions, financial institutions have the possibility to recover their loans, has a higher possibility to recover their loans. Okay? And they will be interested in finance more operations because they know that the risk is lower. Then, investment in infrastructure is necessary, not only to globalize the country, not only to be member of regional markets. They need to invest in infrastructure. And the fiscal policy must be directed to this infrastructure and to other activities. For example, education. What is the relation between education and financial operations? We know that some kind of financial operations are very easy. Open a saving account, withdraw funding from a bank, it's very easy. But if you want to operate with, for example, financial derivatives like swaps, forwards, options, if you don't understand it, how will you accept the services? It exists many kinds of services like securitization that I have explained you in a very superficial way. You will find more information in the readings that I have hanged in the web page of the university. But if we can't understand complicated operations, we won't do it. And if the financial institutions don't have people who can understand them or operate them, they can't offer it. And if we have not all the services that other countries are offering to their markets, the consequence would be that we can't compete with this other market. We would be inefficient. And how can I prevent local capital from being moved to other countries? When I have a good infrastructure, when I have a higher education, because these entities will find that they could hire people who has a good knowledge, a good knowledge of all the activities, of all the management activities that are necessary to operate. So fiscal policy toward this point is very, very important, or we can adjust our markets to globalization, and in this case with the globalization of financial markets. At the same time, reduction in foreign trade barriers. If we can reduce trade barriers, it means that products will flow from one side to other, and financial sources will flow in the same way. And this is, as I have told you, it is necessary in order that these economies could evolve in a good way, and we don't lose the reserves that we have. This is a picture in which you could find an explanation about why we have a delay, una demora, in the process of financial system globalization. It's because we have had many crises. In the year 1992, Mexico, 1994, Argentina, 1996, Southeast Asia, many countries, and Mexico, the tigers of Asia were in crisis. In 1998, 4 countries, and so on. We have had many financial crises, and this financial crisis has been extended to all other countries. And right now we are leading the crisis of the United States that has affected all the countries in the world. Then, if you are operating in a domestic way, you say, why I will be global? It's not interesting. If I will be only a domestic country, if my economy will be domestic, I will be not affected by all these crises. This is a foreign crisis, and they affect me if I am global. I don't want to be affected. And by this, many countries try to control their economies, to control their access. They put a lot of barriers in order to protect their economies from this variation. Okay? This is all for today. I have here your practices. Bueno, supongo que la mayor parte ustedes, por lo que he podido chequear, algunos han estudiado, felicitaciones, las notas son de las mejores que he podido encontrar en varios ciclos, pero como salen demasiado del promedio, de cómo podría ser la mejora, solamente me quedan dos hipótesis. La primera, que han conseguido prácticas de ciclos anteriores y he revisado y como propio prácticas de ciclos anteriores, no todos obviamente, entonces ya algunas preguntas las conocí. Y eso lo capto porque como ya me parecía que estaba pasando el ciclo pasado, he puesto preguntas nuevas. Y en las preguntas nuevas el porcentaje de falla es mucho mayor que en el otro, así que ya está ahora sí verificado. Esto significa que van a tener que estudiar porque para la siguiente sí voy a poner preguntas todas nuevas. Así que si no se preparan, van a sufrir. No lo iba a advertir, pero es mejor eso, porque más que jalar gente, lo que me interesa es que la gente sepa. De todas maneras, algo aprenden estudiándose solo las preguntas, algo. Pero la idea no es que aprendan a responder preguntas sin saber en qué se han metido. De todas maneras, los felicito, el promedio de notas es bastante alto, así que por lo menos han memorizado bien las preguntas que algunos han estudiado. Veamos. Ramírez. Díaz. Cruzado. Estaba aquí cruzado. Ya se fue. ¿Alguien quiere recoger la palabra cruzado? Guzmán. Arauz. No, perdón, no, Charán.